Is it still worth to actually play with the MiG-29 SMT? Let's talk a little bit about it. Hello guys, once again it's Matt. Thank you all the members and patrons, make sure to subscribe. And today we are flying a bit with the MiG-29 SMT, which is one of the top dogs of the Soviet tech tree. I mean, it is a 13.3 aircraft, and the Su-27SM is a 13.7, so the top dog itself is the Su-27, but this is another option of a top tier aircraft that you can actually get there, obviously. And is it worth to actually get this aircraft, to play with this aircraft right now? There are many things that we need to talk about before we answer that. The first thing is that, well, yes, the thing is, the aircraft is good, okay? But at the same time, it's not that good. It's complicated, right? The thing about this aircraft is that it has major, you know, things that are very good about it, and or, you know, at the same time, major things in the aircraft that make it not a very competitive one. So what is good about this aircraft? Well, I think the first one and the main one is the radar, okay? The radar of this thing is basically the only radar in top tier that can make you notch or fly perpendicular to the target while maintaining a lock, which means that you can be a little bit more effective, especially with semi-active missiles, you know, but also with the R-77s, you can be a little bit more safer. You will notice that you barely ever die in this aircraft, you know, flying in the correct way, like in the sense that you fire your missiles in BVR and then turn like 90 degrees to the left or to the right, and you just maintain 90 degrees to the target, and you basically just don't die, you know, when you do that. While other aircraft like F-16, 15s, Su-27s, you will die because the angle is too little, right? And it means that you will go too much to the enemy, you know, direction, basically, to try to avoid a missile or make a missile lose enough energy, right? So this is probably the best part about this aircraft. And you might be wondering, like, well, Matt, but that's not a big thing. Well, that's the problem with this thing. Everything else is all right. I mean, the missiles, the R-77s, they are pretty good. They are very good. They are one of the best missiles in the game, but for short ranges. For long ranges, they're not really that good, you know. You can get kills with it, but you will notice how the M120, maybe even the PL-12, AM-4, and some others are, at the Derby especially, they are way better in the very long ranges, 30+ kilometers shots, you know. But for up close, it is a missile that can do very well, and, you know, do some types of maneuvers that other missiles will not be able to do. So it is a pretty good missile, very much comparable to the Mika on that regard, you know. At the same time, you use the R-73, which are amazing missiles, but Gaijin normally, like, sometimes they see my videos and not, so I hope they actually see this, because there might be something wrong with the R-73 still, okay, and you will notice why. I was trying to be in a defensive position here. My team was basically dead already, but I had like many aircraft following me around. As you see, I'm trying to avoid any IR or radar missile, doing some weird maneuvers here to try to make them miss the missiles, and it's working. You know, it's good. It's making it they miss a lot of the missiles. But look at this, okay? So now I'm getting into the dogfight kind of capability of this aircraft, and one of the advantages of this aircraft is the R-73, right? But look at that, the R-73 just basically died, and I shot another one, and the missile just died. Like, look at that. That was actually a bug, you know, that happened a while back, and apparently they fixed that, but something's wrong with this missile sometimes. In a very low speed, the missile just, because of the thrust vectoring, just loses itself, you know, and it just basically dies. And I mean, don't get me wrong, but in that case, at least one of the R-73 should have killed the F-16 instead of the missile just dying, basically, just start to roll and turn, you know, out of control. So I mean, talking about the guns and the missiles, I mean, the weapon systems, you have 2 or 4 R-77s here that are pretty good, but they have their limitations. Very good missiles, but they have their limitations. And then 2 R-73s that, when you need them, it can be very problematic in a dogfight, which was something that wasn't happening, and now it's happening, which is weird. I might need to do a bug report on the R-73, actually, but still. And apart from that, what else is there? Well, the performance, right? The performance of the aircraft is alright. It's nothing like crazy good, but it's not bad. You know, the thrust to weight, the amount of speed that you can take and everything with that is pretty amazing. The aircraft is pretty good. It is, remember, as a doctrine kind of line of thinking, a point defense aircraft, right? So the objective of it is to take off as fast as possible and defend around 100, 200 kilometers around, you know, the place that it's supposed to be taking off from. That's the idea with the MiG-29, right? It was basically developed to do that, you know. It was developed to be spread around a border and basically be a very fast interceptor that can just get there very quickly, fire the missiles, kill as many targets as possible, and RTB. That was the main objective of this aircraft. Obviously, the turning capability was also developed very well, but in War Thunder, as you know, especially the SMT, these MiG-29s, they don't turn very well. Okay, so you get an aircraft that has only 6 missiles. The missiles have their problems. They're not bad, but they have their problems. Together with, you know, a kind of flight performance that is pretty good for doing BVR, but then a missile that it's not the best for doing BVR at the same time. And together with a missile that is not really, sometimes it just is really weird, which is the R-73, and with a performance in turning that it's far from winning from, like, even compared to the F-15 and Su-27, right? So at the end of the day, is it worth to actually answer the question, is it worth to actually fly this aircraft in 2024? I gotta be honest, I don't think so. I think the Su-27 is a much better option. It has more missiles. You can carry a bigger variety of missiles because you have more of them. It's the same missiles, but you know what I mean, right? And the performance is just, I mean, the acceleration and everything, it might be a little bit worse, but not by much. And the turning capability is a lot better, right? So at the end of the day, there's no really a reason why to play this aircraft, which is kind of sad because I love this thing. The MiG-29 is my favorite aircraft of all time, you know. I just love the thing, and the F-16 is, you know, I'm starting to love it as well. I love light aircraft like this, and the MiG-29 was my favorite of all time, but right now, I gotta be honest, I don't think it's really worth it. I don't think it's really worth it. So, I don't know, maybe it's just how it is, but I gotta be honest, if they change two little things, the R-73 basically not being unreliable sometimes, like sometimes it is, and together with that, the performance in turning being a little bit better in amount of AOA that you can actually pull, it would mean that this MiG would actually be a tiny little better and make it worth to actually play. And I think the kind of like the idea that this aircraft is a 13.3 while F-16Cs are 13.7, the Su-27 is a 13.7, the F-15 is a 13.7, kind of gives up that even Gaijin knows that this aircraft is not performing not as well as it should, but you know, as good as the other ones in top tier, which is kind of sad. Hopefully, if we don't see those things, we see a better MiG-29 in the future, the MiG-29M, or even the MiG-35 maybe in the far future, I don't know. It would be very, very cool, because I love this thing, and it's kind of sad to have kind of a difficult aircraft, and kind of a difficult time actually flying this thing, which is kind of weird, but yeah. I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments if you think that the MiG-29 SMT is worth or not to play right now in 2024. See you guys. Bye.